Colleen, welcome and thank you very much indeed for joining me today. I was fascinated to hear about connecting food when I think you posted something on LinkedIn and we connected, and it's a brilliant use case really for and one that will really resonate with people and consumers, because it's all about food provenance and food supply chain and a food audit trail. Tell me a little bit more about the application and where it came from and where you are now with it.
Sure, thank you. So yeah, Connecting Food was created a bit more than 3 years ago, and it was created by two people with more than 20 years of experience each in the food industry, and they were at strategic positions like head of marketing, head of strategy, and they realized how the lack of traceability and the lack of quality audits were impacting consumer trust. As in, when you have a product in your hands as a consumer, you have a bag of biscuits, most of the time you have no idea where the food comes from. And if one day a problem happens, you are afraid that you're going to get sick because of it, and the brands are really highly impacted by anything that would turn bad on the food supply chain that they wouldn't know about. And if they would have to recall a product, it has dramatic consequences. So the idea of Connecting Food at the very beginning is to solve this, is to find a way of permanently tracking the food supply chain, whether we're talking about grains, whether we're talking about final products, in order to really monitor where it comes from. Is it from the registered suppliers? And also the food quality. Is it okay with the product's requirements at every step of the chain? And once you've done this, then you have a lot of data that it's very important to share and to store in a tamper-proof manner, so that it cannot get falsified, that you cannot do another product with that, and so that consumers can also verify it by themselves. And when they wanted to create that, that's when Connecting Food was born, and that's when blockchain got when they got the idea of blockchain, because blockchain is a technology that enables this data sharing and this tamper proofing. And so they realized that the Connecting Food platform was actually providing something totally new that did not exist before. The data existed, but the fact of tamper-proofing it, sharing it, and enabling all of the actors on the chain until the final consumers to verify it for themselves was absolutely new.
Yeah, so I presume that all of the key parties, in the supply chain have to be involved and have to interact with the app in order to augment the chain. How does that physically happen? Is it with specific devices, or do you barcode the product, or what way do you do it?
Well, actually, when you're looking at a food chain today, a lot of data is already being produced because digitalization is making its way into agriculture, into food production. So data already exists. And our job at the very beginning, when we start working with the client, is to look at the software that they use, or the tools that they use. Sometimes it's the latest technologies. Sometimes it's not the latest technologies, but data is always somewhere. So we try to get their ERP systems or their solution to work with our platform in order to suck the data in without any human intervention, because that's when the error is happening most of the time. So we try to build bridges to build digital bridges between their ERPs and our platform in order to have all data automatically without human intervention. And this way we ensure, first thing, that the data is authentic, and second thing, that we don't ask any additional work for the agri-food actors, because when you're a potato grower, you don't want to be bothered by registering into an app and doing all kind of things that you already registered somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's just not your job to do so.
How do you make money out of this, though? What's the monetization model? Do you charge the various actors in the chain for participation?
So until now, we've had clients in every step of the food chain. The demand can really be from brands or even from retailers that want to create value for their clients who are the shoppers, but it can also come from more upstream actors that see this consumer demand for traceability and for transparency, and that want to meet their B2B clients' expectations in terms of transparency and traceability. So our clients can be from farming cooperatives to retailers. And yes, they do pay us an annual subscription to use the platform, because how the software exists is it's a B2B platform for the agri-food actors, that they can see all of their transactions and where the batches came from and where they went and so on. And it's also a QR code that is printed on the product's pack for the consumers. So obviously the consumers don't pay us anything, but in that case, for instance, the group behind the brand Lu Mondelez is paying us an annual a subscription to use the platform. So that's
I presume from their point of view too that they see significant competitive advantage really in giving that information to consumers, because obviously consumers increasingly want to know the provenance of their food because they're putting it into their bodies. You know, they want to know where that comes from.
Exactly. Actually, when you look at a pack of biscuits today, you see, for instance, you have often a picture of the ingredients. Here you have colors that remind you that it's probably made in France. If you turn it around, you have some storytelling about the product. But there have been many food scandals over the past years proving that writing something on a product's pack is just not enough to win a consumer's trust today. So really the goal with Connecting Food for the brands, for most of our clients, is to put the QR code on it so that consumers can scan it and check for themselves, because what they have access to, so this is the web app that you get when you scan the QR code. I don't know if it's very clear.
I can see that, yeah.
The type of information that you get is clicking on each step of the chain. You can see exactly where the farmers are located and where the milling plant is located and all the process. So you can zoom in and see all of the farms and all of the plants. And so this really gets it gives consumer a taste of what is really behind this product. Before it was a biscuit, where did the grain come from? And well, for instance, this product is not organic, but it respects a specific product requirement that is called harmony. So the wheat is made from a specific place, and it respects this high criteria of quality, that they don't have to apply certain types of products on the crops and so on. And so it's very hard to explain that kind of stuff to the consumer, especially on a product's pack. It's not the right place for it. But once they have the full traceability in their hands and they're navigating and they're looking at, how was it produced? And I want to know more about their agricultural practices of the farmers. Let's say a very few people are going to do this. But the ones that will do this, they will be the ones that speak about the brand, that have strong convictions about what to eat and what to not eat. And so it's to satisfy this minority, which is highly active on social media and
absolutely, and of course with food allergies as well. Given the fact that you're covering the whole of the food supply chain, it's critically important too, that for people who have particular food needs.
Yes, exactly. We can absolutely link all the batches with the specific microbiological test results for the allergens presence. Yeah.
And you're very well embedded in France in terms of your client relationships. You've just shown us some products and your website details some of the other relationships you have. But outside of France, are you gaining traction in terms of interest in the product?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing to know is that even in France, the food chains are global. So for specific products, our clients manage to have all made in France, but for some others, of course, the raw materials can come from other places. So we are European by essence because food chains are global, but we also have clients abroad. For instance, we have this brand called Bionade. They're making lemonade, which is organic and which is tracked by Connecting Food as well. We have a very big client in Italy. It's the retailer Cup. It's the major retailer in Italy. So yeah, we're definitely gaining traction in Europe, and some prospects in the United States also are quite interested. We have some producers in Turkey that are very interested as well. So we're definitely expanding throughout Europe, and it's a good thing because our ambition is to change food system for the better and to make it more transparent for everyone. So making proof of concept with one tiny brand in your own country is a first step, but then you have to gain big clients. And when you're looking at this brand, for instance, I don't know if you guys know it in the UK, but it's like an iconic product, and it's owned by a very big food actor called Mondelez. So we are getting to the big players, and we're getting it international. So we're getting closer to our goal of making the whole food system more transparent.
Yeah, Mondelez is certainly a manufacturer of food products that are sold in UK supermarkets as well. So that will resonate. It's fascinating. I know that you're built on Hyperledger Fabric, so it's a permission-based blockchain. But it does show, doesn't it, the myriad use cases for blockchain as a technology, for distributed ledger technology. Do you think the industry is aware? Is there an education process that still has to be done as far as blockchain is concerned? Because so many people still associate it with cryptocurrency and not with this type of use case.
Yes, it's true. Depending on the type of clients that we are talking with, sometimes the project gets delayed because they want to understand perfectly all about blockchain before starting the project. And hopefully for us, this phase of blockchain understanding is narrowing down as the months go by, because today it's almost common knowledge that blockchain is a really great tool for traceability purposes, and people don't question this at all. It's true that they often associate it with Bitcoin and so on, but I think the differentiation between public blockchain used for Bitcoin, with really this idea of the crowd, participating and validating transaction and the mining, is very different from the type of blockchain that we offer our client, which is permission-based, which is a private yet shared ledger that only a few actors can participate into, and not everyone can write in it, not everyone can see all the transaction in it. So it's really it's the best of both worlds, let's say. And it's also something that reassures our clients, because sometimes they hear about blockchain and I think it's like big data open bar, and I'm a private company manufacturing food products, and my recipe is highly confidential and I don't want anyone to know my recipe. And once they understand that it's not because you have your whole food chain tracked by our platform that any consumer can scan it and discover your secret recipe, then they feel better about it.
Yeah, I understand. Listen, Coline, it's a fascinating case study. Thank you very much indeed for telling us about it. And we do have other speakers that have blockchain applications, but then this one I think will resonate with a lot of people. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.